Good morning, children. In the first part of the lesson, we discussed what the author Tishani Doshi felt on reaching Antarctica. Today, in part 2, that is from page number 20 to 22, let's see why the author mentions if we want to understand the past, present, and future, Antarctica is the best place to visit. Also, we come across the aim of the program, Students on Ice, in detail. Please go through the words and their meanings for a better understanding of the lesson. The second part of the lesson begins with human impact on Earth. Human life on Earth has been around for barely a few seconds on the geological clock. In merely this less time, humans have managed to exploit each and every resource, thereby creating a chaos in the nature. The ever increasing human population is robbing other species of the necessities for survival. The unlimited exploitation of fossil fuels have created a blanket of carbon dioxide around our planet, which is further increasing the average global temperature, thus leading to global warming. So, all these topics we have been talking continuously and almost every day. Climate change. Global warming and climate change are in great concern these days. Questions like melting of Antarctic sheet, disruption of Gulf Stream ocean, and how the world will end still remains unanswered. Regardless, Antarctica remains an important part not only because it is untouched by humans. Ice cores, half million year old carbon records got trapped in its layers of ice. That's why Tishani Doshi, the author, mentions if one wishes to study and analyze Earth's past, present, and future, Antarctica is the best place to visit. Now, children, let's discuss about Students on Ice program. The author Tishani Doshi has been in Antarctica on an expedition with students on ice. The program started with the vision of providing life changing experiences to the future generation of policymakers to learn about the planet at a very early age. So, who are these policymakers? Yeah, it's of course the high school students, including you people. The initiative was introduced by Geoff Green. Geoff Green is a Canadian educator, the founder and executive director of Students on Ice. He is also a social entrepreneur and adventurer. He made his first expeditions to the Arctic and Antarctic in 1994. Actually, Geoff Green was profoundly inspired by these cornerstones of our global ecosystem and has since led more than 120 expeditions to the polar regions, as well as dozens of journeys to the most remote corners of the planet. So, in appreciation for his contribution to the world, the Globe and Mail called Geoff the man who revolutionized polar and environmental education. So, now, children, you just watch the video given and then listen to the words of Geoff Green.
My first trip down here to the Antarctic was just over 20 years ago. I had accidentally gone to the Arctic, you could say, and then they figured I must know something about the Antarctic if I'd been to the Arctic. And it was a case of right place, right time, bit of good luck and good karma and opportunity. And then along came later on this chance to merge my two passions, which were education and expeditions and adventuring, and Students on Ice was effectively born thanks to so many partners and people that helped to get it off the ground and keep it going for so long. When we first started Students on Ice 15 years ago, we're mostly focused on environmental issues.
Hope that words of Geoff Green has been thought-provoking. Now let's talk about the success of the program. The program has been immensely successful in implementing its vision. People get affected by seeing the real scenario. You know that seeing is believing. It's very easy to sit at home and talk about real issues. It's only when We come to the reality when we see something in front of our eyes, we believe things. Actually, seeing glaciers retreating and ice shelves collapsing give you a glimpse into the future. It tells you that the very threat of global warming is real. Antarctica is one of those places with limited biodiversity and thus has a less complicated ecosystem. This happens because little changes in its environment can have drastic effects. For instance, the microscopic phytoplankton are grasses of the sea that sustains the entire Southern Ocean's food chain. Now, it has been recently concluded by scientists that a further depletion in the ozone layer can affect the activities of these single celled plants and affect the marine life altogether. Thus, in this case, the saying comes true: take care of the small things, and the big things will fall into its place. Walk on the ocean. The author concludes by writing about her experience of walking on the frozen surface of ocean with 180 meters of living and breathing salt water, a rich kaleidoscope of life underneath. Before they return, the writer got an opportunity to walk on the ocean at 65.55 degrees south. All the 52 persons on board put on breathable waterproof clothing and sunglasses. They climbed down the gangplank and walked on the ocean. In the periphery, they could see crab eater seals, which were stretching and sunning themselves on ice floes, much like stray dogs usually do under the shade of a banyan tree. A revelation. The author pondered upon the capability of nature to maintain its balance. She wondered what it would be like if Antarctica, the place that houses over 90% of world's ice, becomes warm again, whether we exist to see it if it ever happens. Thus, by seeing the spirit of teenagers who still are left with the courage to save the world, she talks about the uncertainty of events that can happen over a million years. Dear children, this chapter is really an eye opener. Remember, please take care of the small things, and the big things will fall into its place automatically. Hope you have understood the topic. Thank you. Have a nice day.